So I've passed multiple prop firm challenges, I've received multiple payouts, and I'm a fully funded Forex trader. When I've actually posted about this on my YouTube, on my Instagram, on my Twitter, I get countless questions on how I pass these challenges and how you can also become a fully funded trader. So in today's video, I'm going to go through some steps in which I think you can improve your trading and maybe get to the stage where you're ready to actually pass a prop firm, and also some tips specialized to passing these prop firms where I see a lot of people actually make the mistakes. It might be about the profit targets, could be about the rules, or basically their overall trading strategy. In this video, I'm going to break down a few bits of advice on how you can improve your trading and become like the 1% of fully funded traders. Before we start the video, a lot of traders get put off by some statistics. You'll see it on Twitter or YouTube. A lot of traders talk about the percentage of people who actually get payouts because it's very, very small. I've talked about it before in the past as well, and it's quite hard to actually trade and try and get a payout once you've seen these companies release the data, and less than 1% of people actually ever get paid from the prop firm. So obviously you'll probably get like 5-10% of people that pass phase 1, but then the percentage of the people that pass phase 1 that pass phase 2 is also very, very low. And overall at the end, I think it's less than 0.1% of people that actually get a payout on this particular firm. So it's very, very tricky for a lot of traders to kind of get past that. But just know that if you put in the time and maybe implement some of the things I'm going to talk about in this video, then you too can be in that small percentile of people that actually make money from prop firms. People will be commenting about legitimacy with myself. So here on the screen are some of the payouts I've had that I've actually shared before on YouTube, and I always post my public WillssFX book, my track record and how I trade. And if I lose, you can laugh at me. If I win, then you can see that too. So go check that out. Before you actually take a prop firm challenge, you're going to want to choose a prop firm which matches your trading style, because it kind of determines whether you're going to pass or not. A lot of traders choose a prop firm which they don't really have a high chance of passing, so then they get disheartened when they fail and kind of think prop firms and trading are a scam and they'll never actually make money from them within 30 days of the trading period. And this person can only make 5 to 6% profit within 30 days. So how do you suddenly think, with the additional added pressure of the 30 days, the maximum drawdown, the daily drawdown, it might even have an equity drawdown, all of these different aspects which will actually make it harder, and you can't even make 8 to 10% anyway, why do you suddenly think you're going to be able to pass? You're better off taking a harder challenge. I know some companies actually offer like 2 or 3 step challenges. Obviously the 3 step being you have to pass 3 stages. Obviously those stages might be a little bit easier, but you have to pass 3 to actually prove you can trade. Or you're going to want to just change your trading style. It's as simple as that. Because if you're making 5% profit, then you can't reach the 10% goal. You're not going to suddenly be able to make double the profit with one little change. So there's definitely going to be something that you have to change in order to actually reach that profit target. In this case, if you are struggling to reach the goal, then you can just up your risk. Obviously this isn't advisable, and I don't want to encourage people to start risking more if they're not making the required profit, but sometimes that's what you're going to have to do to actually pass. And it's not a bad thing that you can't make the right amount of profit. On my personal trading account, I only make 3 to 5% a month on average. So if I was taking the exact same trades on that account as I was going to take on a prop firm, then I wouldn't be able to pass it either. I know a lot of really, really good traders that struggle to pass prop firms. They're making really, really good money trading their personal accounts. They're making really, really good returns, but would they be considered a bad trader because they can't pass a prop firm? Definitely not. It's just a different style of trading required to actually trading a normal personal trading account. Also, there are set rules with a lot of these companies. So let's say you're a trader that maybe trades through news, or you're a swing trader, and obviously your trades are going to be through news anyway, unless you close out before, obviously. But a lot of these prop firms have rules where you can't close or open or close a trade 2 minutes before or after news. So if you're a swing trader, what if your take profit gets hit, or your limit order gets hit within the 2 minutes of the news? How are you going to manage that? These are all things you need to look out for before you actually get into a prop firm, before you actually enroll in a challenge, and not just lose it just for the sake of I didn't read the rules. You don't want to be that sort of guy. You don't want to be the person that doesn't read the rules and then complains about the rules and saying it's their fault, you did everything right, because that's literally the worst type of person you can be in this industry. Another tip for the traders out there which are struggling with drawdown is to maintain the same risk throughout the whole process of the challenge. A lot of people will encourage you to risk 0.5% or 0.25% if you go into drawdown, or even just at the start of the challenge. It's not bad advice to lower your risk, but personally always keep the same risk. Whether it's a challenge, a funded account, a personal account, always keep the same risk. If I start with 0.5% risk, I'm going to stick with 0.5% risk throughout the whole challenge. It's as simple as that. And here's why. Let's say you are 5% in drawdown, and obviously you have 10% allowed drawdown, or 12% depending on the prop firm, and you risked 1% on each of these trades, so you've lost 5 trades. That's not too bad. That's very possible with a lot of people's strategies. 5 trades losing, not the end of the world. Now you've seen someone's advice on Twitter or YouTube. They advise you to lower your risk to try and get back into profit. So you lower your risk to 0.25% to 0.5% risk per trade. So now if you want to make that 15% back to actually pass the challenge, which is obviously the goal, you now need to make instead of a 1 to 15 or 3 1 to 5s, you now have to make a 1 to 30 or a 1 to 60. I'm not saying in one trade, but you have to make 30% profit now, where 60% or 30 or 60 are to actually reach the profit target instead of 1 to 15. People are going to say, oh yeah, but you lose 5 trades and you're gone instead of losing 30 trades or whatever. This is also true, but if you're losing 10 trades in a row with no winners, then maybe you're just not ready for a prop firm. It's as simple as that. Obviously, even with like a really good strategy that's profitable, you could have losing streaks and this is fine. But if you're going to lose and have a losing streak, you're going to have a losing streak no matter your risk. So at least stick with the same risks. So if you make a 1 to 5, you're back in profit, rather than, oh, if I actually risk 1%, then I'd be back in profit, but I risk 0.25%, so I'm only 4% in drawdown still. It just doesn't really make sense to me. You know, with my personal accounts, my funded accounts, I will always use the same risk. 1% is wonderful. If I lose 10 trades, I'm minus 10%. If I win 4 trades, I'm plus 12%. Simple as that. If I just adjust it because I'm in drawdown or in profit, then it kind of just messes up your risk to reward overall, and all your results from your back testing, your forward testing, they kind of go out the window if you start adjusting your risk depending on, you know, the setup or how you're feeling with the setup, because you want to have it so if you see this, you enter the trade and you know the percentage, you know the chance that it's actually going to hit the take profit or the stop loss. The next tip is to always journal every single trade. This is very, very key. This isn't just for prop firm accounts, this is kind of for general traders. You need to journal your trades. The main reason for this is you need to know where you're going wrong. If you're watching this video, then you most likely are a trader that's struggling to pass prop firms. There's clearly something wrong in your trading which you actually need to fix. So we can do that by journaling. It doesn't matter if you're journaling in Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, obviously a free alternative. There's many different journaling softwares out there, probably free ones too, you know, like Notion, easy to use, and you can kind of build your own strategy based off that. And if you're journaling every single trade that you've taken, you can kind of see a clear pattern of what's working and what's not working. Let's say I was trading 5 different pairs and 4 of those pairs are performing quite well and that 5th pair isn't performing. Then I can kind of think to myself, okay, these 4 pairs are doing quite well. This 1 pair isn't doing well. Maybe I should just cut it. Whereas if you weren't journaling, you wouldn't really notice that. You just say, oh, I lost a few trades this week, lost a few trades last week. What am I going to do? Whereas if you're journaling, you can see out of all of these, which ones are actually making you profit. The journaling software which I use, you can actually set it so you can see the results for each setup, for each pair, for each session, everything like this. It's all kind of built in. Obviously you can do this in Google Sheets too. I actually made a video on like my backtesting journal. I also use that for my live trades. So I have it where you can set up formulas. If there's one thing in the column, it then copies over to your statistics. So you can kind of set this up, you know, in a way that kind of suits your own trading and how you actually journal. Many different ways to do it. That's just how I personally like to do it. And then once you've got all this data, let's say you have 100, 200 trades, even if you're just backtesting, you can see where you're going wrong. You can see that maybe Mondays aren't the best for your trading. Maybe New York isn't the best to trade. Maybe even you just had to cut out a pair completely, or even a setup completely. If the break and retest isn't working, performing a lot worse than your other setup, simply just cut it out. There's no point trading something which overall isn't performing as well, or is kind of losing you money in the long run. If it's taking away from all your profits, from your other strategies, from your other pairs, then you kind of have to think, is it even worth my time to actually trade this? Is it worth, you know, all the trades you have to take, the analysis you have to do to actually just maybe even be break even or lose overall? One of the main reasons I actually track all my trades is so I can see progress. I can see my performance at any day, any week, any month, or even over the years of my trading. I can see any mistakes I'm making, which I might need to tweak to actually improve my trading. It's as simple as that. If I'm losing on a certain entry criteria, if I'm 4% in profit and I'm always targeting 5% and then it reverses, I can see this from my journal. As long as you're writing notes with each trade as well, what went well, what went wrong, what could you have done to maximize your profits, did you have a lot of drawdown for this trade, all this can definitely help in the long run. So moving on to the last point, I say this is the most important one for people that are struggling to pass. A lot of people, they're not losing traders, they're profitable traders, they're making 3-5% profit, even up to like 8-9% profit on their prop firm challenge. They can't quite get to that 10%. They're always in profit at the end of the month, they always get their free retry, but they don't end up reaching the profit target. What can they do? So I have a simple solution to this, and it's something that I actually use and that I've talked about to a lot of the traders I actually know. So what you're going to do is leverage your profits. For example, I always use this example of 5%. So we used to 5% in drawdown example. Now, for example, we're 5% in profit. So the account, 100K account is at 105K. We have to get it to 110K. So we have to make an extra 5%. And let's say we have a week left on our challenge. What are we going to do? Are we going to take the same trades and hope for a 1 to 5? No. What we're going to do is we're going to leverage the profits which we've already made. With these accounts, if you actually end the trading period in profit, worst case scenario, you get a free retry. It's as simple as that. So you have to make that 5%, but you don't want to have to make a 1 to 5 or 2 1 to 2.5s. What can you do? What we're going to do is risk the profits which we've made. So out of that 5%, maybe you could risk 2% on the trade now. So now to make that 5%, you only need to have a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward setup. You could even risk 3%, 4%, but obviously the higher you go, the more risk you have of slippage or spreads taking you out the trade and ending up with it very close to your daily drawdown, or even the overall profit being below 100K. Had to be very careful. So I wouldn't advise you risking, 4% or 5%. You could do 2 to 3%. That's kind of manageable if you don't have, bad spreads or bad commissions or slippage on the certain portfolio which you're using. So you can actually use this profit. So let's say you go down, it's your last week of the account, you risked 3%, you go down, you lose 3% on that trade. So at the end of the week, you're still up 2%, you still get that free retry to go again. Whereas if that trade which you're risking 3% goes into profit, 1.3R or something like that, can't be bothered to do the maths, 1.3R, then you've passed the challenge. So instead of needing 1 to 5, you need like a 1 to 1.3 or a 1 to 1.5 or a 1 to 2, which kind of makes it a lot easier for you to pass. And all you're doing is just leveraging the profits which you've already made, because worst case scenario, you still get the free retry. Best case scenario, you pass with having to make a lower risk to reward. Obviously, it is a lot easier to make a 1 to 2 than it is to make a 1 to 5. So it kind of simplifies the whole process. So overall, you're only having to make a 1 to 7 instead of a 1 to 10 because you're kind of risking a little bit more. Obviously, if you're risking 3% to make 1%, it's technically a 3 to 1, but risk to reward wise, it's a 1 to 1 or a 1 to 2. Let's just call it that. So if you guys did enjoy this video and maybe you found it useful at all, and I wish you luck with your prop firms, and I'll see you guys next time.